All right, all praises, all praises. Let's move on. Second King.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 5. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh.
All right, devour much flesh. Right, that means to conquer. All right, that's what that's talking about. It means to conquer. All right, to devour. That's what it's going into. This is what this bear is supposed to do. And one thing that all these kingdoms, the kings and the nations that they rule over, I want you to understand that they were here and then they fell. They was prominent and then it became nothing. All right. So what is this telling us? That every kingdom has a beginning and an end. That's what this is going into. That's why these prophecies and understanding what these nations and these kings represent is so important for us to understand these things. Okay, very important, because when we get into the later nation, into that last ruling nation, we're going to understand the importance of these things. So we're talking about the bear now. So this beast or this king, a second like unto the bear, and it raised itself on one side. So let's get a little bit into this and see exactly what it's talking about. Raised itself on one side. So the bear in Daniel chapter 7, verse 5, raised up on its side. Well, Persia was stronger than Media, right? You can read that in Daniel chapter 8, verses 3 and 20. The bear is inferior to lion, as silver is inferior to gold, right? We went a little bit into that also. Each time a nation lost its rulership, an inferior nation would take over. Three ribs, kingdoms of Lydia, Egypt, and Babylon. These are the kingdoms that it conquered, the three ribs. Very, very interesting, right? Very, very interesting. Let's get into it. So you can go, I cited my source here, Heritage History, right? And you can see the conquest of Cyrus the Great from 560 to 529 BC, and the conquest of Cambyses and Darius 525 to 512 BC. So let's read a little bit. Persian Wars of Conquest. The Persian Empire was the great rival of ancient Greece during its golden age. It came to prominence under Cyrus the Great in 550 BC and lasted until it was overthrown by the Macedonians under Alexander the Great in 331 BC. During this period, Persia was the largest, richest, and most powerful empire the world had known, encompassing the formerly great kingdoms of Medes, and that is modern Iran, Babylon, modern Iraq and Syria, Lydia, modern Turkey, and Egypt in its peak stretched from Thrace in Europe to India. So I want everybody to understand that if you're talking about a modern day kingdom of the Medes, we're going to Iran. When you're talking about the modern day kingdom of Babylon, we're talking about Iraq and Syria. And when we talk about Lydia, the modern day kingdom is Turkey. All right. So let's see what this is all going into, because it raised itself on one side, meaning that Persia and Medes were together. But when it raised itself on one side, it means the Persian Empire took over the Medes. All right. And then let's get into the three ribs in the bear's mouth. All right. And make sure, are we still on the same page? Everybody good?
I'm back, brother.
Okay, all praises, all praises. Did we lose anything?
It's all good, man.
Okay, all praises.
We went out for a minute, but we back on. We live.
Okay, all praises, all praises. All right. So let's get into it. Conquest of Cyrus the Great, 560 to 529 BC. So Cyrus the Great was the grandson of Astyages, king of Medes, and with the help of Atradius minister, overthrew his grandfather. The surrounding kingdoms of Lydia and Babylon were alarmed by this course of events and especially concerned by the size of the army Cyrus had gathered in the process of putting his new kingdom in order. Croesus of Lydia marched into Median territory to meet Cyrus at Pteria, but the battle was inconclusive and prepared reinforcements. All right. Cyrus pursued him to Lydia. He seized the capital and took the city by storm. Instead of killing Croesus, however, Cyrus made him a principal minister. To the south of Medes and Lydia lay the rich kingdom of Babylon, the principal city of which was protected by enormous walls and was built on either side of the Euphrates River. Since the place could not possibly be taken by assault, Cyrus a channel to route the river around the city, and when the river lowered, his army marched up through the dry riverbed. The final campaign of Cyrus was an invasion of Scythia, in which he was killed. All right. So now we see how the bear raising itself up on one side means that it was stronger than the Persian Empire. The Median Empire took it over, and the three ribs are those ribs which he took over. Okay. Right. And those were Babylon, Lydia, and Egypt. All right. Just so that we're clear on that. Just so that we're clear. All right. So now we're going to go into this next king, and we're going to read verse 6. All right. You got it?
Yeah,
did you want to start reading again, brother? Or
it's up to you. It's up to you.
Yeah, Daniel chapter 7. All right, Daniel chapter 7, verse 6.
All right, Daniel chapter 7, verse 6. After this, I beheld.
Hold on one second, brother. Hold on one second. Can you stop? You said this is live, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. All right, go ahead and read that.
Okay, Daniel chapter 7, verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it four wings of fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
All right, so now we're talking about this next king or ruler. All right, so now we're talking about the leopard. That's what we're going into. And this leopard is Alexander the Greek. All right, so let's get a little bit about the leopard. The leopard, known for speed. Greece conquered world rapidly under Alexander. The 4 heads, 4 divisions: Lysimachus, Cassander, Ptolemy, Seleucus. And this is the reign of the Greek Empire from 331 until 168. All right. So let's get a little bit about this kingdom, or this king and his ruling nations. All right. Let's get First Maccabees. You got your apocrypha? We get First Maccabees. So I went and did a little research, and I just want y'all to see something because it compares it to a leopard. And like I said, we're going to find out that the Most High is cold when it comes to these visions and letting you see things and how he plays things out. So I went and got these different pictures of a statue of Alexander the Great. Even in the movies, he's portrayed with this leopard on this horse. I just thought that it was just an amazing coincidence, right? That this is actually happening. This is such an amazing thing that not only is he compared to a lion, a leopard, but that he's actually got leopard skin on his horse whenever he went into a battle, right? So let's read a little bit about the Hellenistic world of Alexander the Great. I want you to hold that, okay? I'm going to have you read that in a minute, okay? First Maccabees chapter 1. All right. So, citing the source, World History Encyclopedia, all right, worldhistory.org, the Hellenistic world, the world of Alexander the Great. So far we went through the Babylonian Empire, ruled under the king Nebuchadnezzar, and then we went into the Persian and Mede Empire, and the king was Cyrus. Now we're going into the third king, or the third beast, which is Alexander the Great, the Greek. All right, however you want to say it, the Hellenistic world, the world of Alexander the Great. All right, so let's read a little bit about it. The Hellenistic world, from the Greek word Hellas, or Greece, is the known world after the conquest of Alexander the Great, and corresponds roughly with the Hellenistic period of ancient Greece from 323 BCE to the annexation of Greece by Rome in 146 BCE. Although Rome's rule ended Greek independence and autonomy, it did nothing to significantly change, nor did it in any way halt the Hellenization of the world of the day. In fact, it encouraged it. Very, very interesting that even though Rome took over the Greeks, they still encouraged the Hellenization of the world. And why is this interesting? This is interesting because Paul went to the so-called Greeks. But wait a minute, Paul was talking to Romans. His epistles was written to Romans. So if you want to take the mindset that there's neither Greek nor Jew, then why was Paul writing letters to Romans and calling them Greeks? The reason why he was writing to the Greeks is because these were the Israelites that was living like Greeks. Give me First Maccabees chapter 4. Let me show y'all something real quick before we move on. Because this is a Bible study, right? All right. So let's read something. No, Second Maccabees. I'm sorry, Second Maccabees. Second Maccabees. Chapter 6. And let's start at verse 1. It needs light. All right, go ahead and read that for me.
Second Maccabees chapter 6, verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers, and not to live after the laws of the Most High, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympus, and that in Gazarim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers. All right, I want you to jump down to verse 8. decline. Verse 8. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews that they should observe the same fashion and be partakers of their sacrifice.
Read on.
And whosoever Shalaki, and whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery.
All right, so we can see that not only could we not keep our customs, not only could we not keep the laws of God without being put to death, right? But we can see that we have to conform to the Gentiles of the Greeks. We have to live after the Hellenization of the Greek customs. And it was unlawful for us to even call ourselves a Jew. And that's why Paul was writing an epistle in Rome to people that were still calling themselves Greeks. Because the Roman Empire didn't even they didn't even stop it. They said, we'll just encourage this. So when we see Paul going to these Greeks and saying there's neither Jew nor Greek, he's actually talking to the Greeks that are still living after the Greek customs and trying to bring them back into their own customs, into their own nationality, and let them know that they are the chosen people of God and that we need to start keeping these law, statutes, and commandments, along with having the faith of Yahushua. Because keep in mind, this is when Yahushua had been crucified, right? This is when after Yahushua was crucified. So now we have to have the faith in Christ, Yahushua, and we have to start keeping his law, statutes, and commandments. All right, so that was the side note. All right, but I just thought that this part was very interesting and kind of hit home, and it kind of brought a whole bunch of understanding. Okay, let's read on.
Verse 10.
No, I got it. No, that's all I wanted on it. That's all I wanted at. You can go to Maccabees chapter 1. And this looks like it's upside down. Yeah.
First Maccabees.
No. I'm gonna read this and then I'm gonna let you read that, okay? Mm-hmm. All right, it says, after Alexander's death, his empire was divided among his 4 generals. I don't even want to say that, all right? But we can see Lysimachus, who took Thrace and much of Asia Minor, Cassander, controlled Macedonia and Greece. Ptolemy the First ruled Egypt. Then you got Seleucus. All right. So now give me First Maccabees chapter 1.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shipping, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians, that he reigned in his seed, the first of the year. Verse 2, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. Verse 2, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries, and nations, and kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. All
right, so now this is going into the other 4 heads, right? So now let's go back to Daniel chapter 7. Let's read verse 6 again, brother.
All right, Daniel chapter 7 and verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
So when it talks about the 4 wings of a fowl, it's talking about the dominance and the widespread influence that they had from the north, the south, the east, and the west. All right, that's what it's talking about. And then when it talks about the 4 heads, it's talking about those 4 generals that he split his kingdom up amongst. All right, we good? Everybody understand? We good? All right, because now we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes. All right, we're going to get into this 4th beast for the 4th king. All right. So we're all good for right now. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, let's read the next one, brother. Verse 7.
After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
All right, so we're going to talk about this for a minute. All right, so this 4th beast is the Roman Empire. And according to the slides that we just read, we can see that it actually goes, we actually can see that the Roman Empire did absorb the Greeks, right? And it took away their autonomy and independence. All right, so if we go back to the parallel slide, right, then we can see that this empire would be symbolizing the legs and the toes, right? The 10 toes in chapter 2, all right, and the 10 horns that are mentioned in chapter 7. All right, so let me read chapter 7 again. It says, and after this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured. It devoured. Now remember when we talk about devoured in the previous scriptures, talked about to take down, right? To kill, to destroy. And it says, and it break in pieces. And it stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. All right, so devoured and break in pieces. And we see that in the previous scriptures, right? We're going into warfare and destruction, conquering. And we're going to see how America implements much, if not all, of the mannerisms of the Roman Empire. So the 10 horns. The 10 horns, before we get into this, does anybody have any questions so far? So we're good. All right. So we're going to get into the 10 horns. The 10 horns represents the Treaty of Rome, in which the EU stems from, which are the 10 common markets. Right? They're integrated to bring economic power to the countries because that's where wealth and power in the world is generated. The more economic power countries have, the more world power they possess. Right? So now we're going to look at we're going to read some of this. There's some European Community, or the EEC, okay, was a regional organization created by the Treaty of Rome, aiming to foster economic integration among its member states. It was subsequently renamed the European Community. Upon becoming integrated into the first pillar of the newly formed European Union in 1993, in the popular language, the singular European Community was sometimes inaccurately used in the wider sense of the plural European communities. Let me jump down a little bit. It says the EEC was also known as the European Common Market, and sometimes referred to as the European Community, even before it was officially renamed in 1993. All right. Let me jump over to the next page. It says the community's initial aim was to bring about economic integration, including a common market and customs union among its 6 founding members, which was Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and West Germany. And of course, we know that there was also some other ones. When we go into the Treaty of Rome, it was actually 10 of them, okay? Just to make sure. So when we talk about the Treaty of Rome, we know that the original members were Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Ireland, the Netherlands, Greece, Spain, and Portugal. Okay, and it's important to note that because when we read about this, then we have to know that these Western European nations actually possessed all of the Latin-speaking countries, right? Because they all came from who? Rome, right? So when you look up something called Romance languages, something that I thought was interesting, all right, it actually descends from the Vulgar Latin. And these are languages that are spoken that came from Rome, Spanish, French, Romanian, Portuguese, the Italians. So the people of these countries come from Rome. And these come from the Western Europe, all right? And they share the same linguistics, all right? So this is something that is very, very, very important when we're talking about those being conglomerate, because who are we talking about here, right? We're actually talking about Esau, right? And it's very important to know this because the Bible is a true book. So you have to know who's in control in these last days. It's going to become very evident when we continue reading, right? It's going to become very evident. All right, let's read verse 8, brother.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 8. I considered the horn, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the root. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
All right, let's break this down. All right, I considered the root. All right, so that little horn is America. So that's AKA Babylon the Great. It's also the other beast found in Revelation 13, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. All right, but it plucked up 3 of the first horns. So when we look at these horns, we're talking about, let's just read it again. We are talking about Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Ireland, Netherlands, Greece, Spain, and Portugal, right? So it says that this little horn is going to pluck up 3 of the first horns, right? We just read them. And this little horn that came up is going to come up amongst the other horns, and it's going to destroy them. And this is how it's going to become a mighty nation. All right. So now we're going to get into prophecy. Now we're about to get into the true prophecy. America, we're talking about 1,000 years after Daniel. 1,000 years. So we know that this has to be prophecy. But is it accurate? Did America actually pluck 3 of these horns? Well, let's see. The French and Indian War. All right, and of course, y'all can slide all this Wikipedia. I know it's not a site that you could pass in your college examinations, but it's accurate history that you can actually trace down and find out to be true. Right, the French and Indian War between 1754 and 1763 was a theater of the 7 Years' War, which pitted the North American colonies of the British Empire against those of the French, each side being supported by various Native American tribes. At the start of the war, the French colonies had a population of roughly 60,000 settlers, compared with 2 million in the British colonies. The outnumbered French particularly depend on the native allies. Very interesting. So now you can see where it goes into the dates, the location, which was North America. Then you can go into some of the territorial changes. But what I want to focus in is on that Treaty of Paris. Treaty of Paris in 1763. All right, as you can see, this is the latest accepted revision, August the 6th of 2024. The Treaty of Paris, also known as the Treaty of 1763, was signed on the 10th of February 1763 by the Kingdom of Great Britain, France, and Spain. With Portugal, that's very important, don't forget Portugal, in agreement following Great Britain and Prussia's victory over French and Spain during the 7 Years' War. Very, very great information there. The Treaty of Paris, also known as the Treaty of to the other side. I just wanted to show y'all the map right there. It says the signing of the treaty formally ended the conflict between France, and Great Britain over control of North America, the 7 Years' War, known as the French and Indian War in the United States. It marked the beginning of an era of British dominance outside of Europe. Great Britain and France each returned much of the territory that they had captured during the war. But Great Britain gained much of France's possessions in North America. Additionally, Great Britain agreed to protect Roman Catholicism in the New World. The treaty did not involve Prussia and Austria, as they signed a separate agreement, the Treaty of Hubertusburg, 5 days later. So that was important, right? The next horn, the American Revolutionary War. All right, the American Revolutionary War, April 19, 1775 to 1783, also known as the Revolutionary War or American War of Independence, was an armed conflict that was part of the broader American Revolution, in which American Patriot Forces, organized as the Continental Army and commanded by George Washington, defeated the British Army. And as you can see the pictures here, you can see, I just wanted to throw just a little bit of pictures in here so that you can see exactly the different surrenderings, the different battles that were won. All right, location on the right here, location. Eastern North America, North Atlantic Ocean, and something I thought was the Caribbean, what I found very, very interesting in this article. Now, when we jump down, all the way down to the bottom, what does it say? The end of the First British Empire. Wow. Prophecies being fulfilled. Right? Let's move on. The Spanish-American War. The Spanish-American War began in the aftermath of the internal explosion of USS Maine in Havana Harbor and Cuba, leading the United States intervention in the Cuban War of Independence. The war led to the United States emerging predominant in the Caribbean region, and resulted in U.S. acquisition of Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. It also led to United States involvement in the Philippine Revolution and later to the Philippine-American War. All right, so we're starting to get into some things here. Let's get some more on that. Some more pictures I want to pull up. I'll take a minute to look at that. Over here on the right, location, Cuba and Puerto Rico, Caribbean Sea, right? The result, U.S. victory. Let's go all the way down to the bottom. The one below the last one says end of the Spanish Empire in the Americas. And right up underneath that, it says rise of the United States as a world power. If you tell me the Most High ain't cold on that, tell me the Most High ain't cold. This is prophecy. 1,000 years before it was even written. How is this? And this is how America became a mighty nation, and how also it plucked up the first three horns. Now, let's go to Zechariah chapter 1, verse 18. We're going to read some more about this. Zechariah chapter 1, verse 18.
Zechariah chapter 1, verse 18. Then lifted I up mine eyes and saw, and behold, 4 horns.
Yep, read on.
Verse 19. And I saw unto the angel, and I said unto the angel that talked with me, what be these? And he answered me, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. And the Lord showed me 4 carpenters. Then said I,
oh, that's good right there, bro. That's good right there. That's good right there. So who scattered these? Who scattered Jerusalem and Israel? Well, we just read them. We just read them. Spain, France, Britain, and let's not forget Portugal, right? So who rules the Levites and has them speaking their language? France, right? Creole, I believe it's called. Who has the Northern Kingdom speaking Spanish, right? Who has the brothers in the islands talking about the Queen's English? So they're the ones who scattered Judah, the southern kingdom, Israel, and the northern kingdom, and Jerusalem, our homeland. So these are the nations right here, including Portugal. Just wanted to give y'all some of that background. Zechariah was during the 6th century also, BCE. Just wanted to give y'all some of that information. I thought that was very interesting. So we can see that these prophecies fit together so perfectly. We see how they just fit together so perfectly. So now we're going to read on. All right, now we're going to read on. Let's go back to Daniel chapter 7. And let's go to verse 8.
Daniel chapter 7 and verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, for whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
All right, so we can understand that that's going into America and how it goes into Spain, France, and to Britain, right? Great Britain. All right, and verse 9.
Verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire.
All right, so now we're going to go into when Yahweh actually takes the kingdom. The one thing I do want to touch on before we get to that, because I want to make sure that we all understand how America is this nation, this mighty nation. All right. So we see how it's plucked up by the roots when we go back to verse 8. And it's also talking about the horn and the eyes, like the eyes of a man. Right. So let's read a little bit more about it. Let's just read a little bit more about it because I want y'all to understand how America actually takes on the mannerisms of ancient Rome. All right. So this, you can get this from whitehouse.gov, right? Talking about how bills are passed and how they have to see eye to eye. So it says, in order to pass legislation to send it to the president for his or her signature, both the House and the Senate must pass the same bill by majority vote. If the president vetoes a bill, they may override his veto by passing the bill again in each chamber with at least 2/3 of each body voting in favor. Let's jump over to the other side, seeing eye to eye. A bill must pass both houses of Congress before it goes to the president for consideration. Though the Constitution requires that the two bills have the exact same wording, this rarely happens in practice. To bring the bills into alignment, a conference committee is convened, consists of members from both chambers. The members of the committee produce a conference report intended as the final version of the bill. Each chamber then votes again to approve the conference report. Depending on where the bill originated, the final text is then enrolled by either the clerk of the House or the secretary of the Senate and presented to the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate for the signatures. The bill is then sent to the President. So nothing is done unless the Congress, which is the House of Representatives, and the Senate, they see eye to eye. And this is exactly how the Roman Empire did in their days. Okay. So now we can go into verse 9. Let's read that again, brother.
Verse 9, verse 8.
We're going to read verse 9.
All right, verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire.
Right, so this is going into Yahweh actually getting ready to set up his kingdom. Right, when it talks about the thrones being cast down, of course, it's talking about these kings being cast down. Okay, I want to make sure everybody still remembers that point. All right, read on.
A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open.
All right, read on.
I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame.
Okay, so who are we talking about here? Who are we talking about? We're talking about America being destroyed. And as you can see, the demonstration going back to Daniel chapter 2, the rock is Yahweh Shai, and it's going to crush the nation that is ruling. All right. And of course, the other kingdoms fail, but you can see how the representation that Christ is going to be the final kingdom set up and how it's going to destroy that kingdom that is ruling now. So who's ruling right now? Well, I'm going to say it's America because that's what the Bible says. Let's go to Revelation chapter 18, verse 7. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 7. Let's get some more mannerisms of America with the ancient Romans.
Revelation chapter 18 and verse 7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
Right. So you can see a very proudful nation, right? That believes nothing can supplant her from her high horse. Even though she's modeling herself after Rome in its present time. Right? You see the Colosseums that the ancient Romans had, Well, guess what? Now you got football coliseums. You got basketball coliseums. We're just talking about entertainment, right? The nasty, disgusting acts of fornication. Even the way America deals in economics is modeled after Rome. And according to history, we all know how Rome fell. And we can see that that's exactly happened with Rome today. Read verse 8 for me, brother.
Verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her.
All right, America is going to be destroyed with fire. We're going to get a couple precepts to prove that this has to be the last ruling kingdom. All right. Let's get Revelation chapter 17, verse 16.
Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
Wait a minute. So I thought these 10 horns was a part of this horn. But no, it says that it's going to turn on her. It's going to turn on that horn. So actually, these other nations are going to turn against America and destroy America. And you can actually see that happening before your eyes right now. If you don't have your head up underneath a rock and you're actually keeping up with the news, then you see all these nations that are going to come up against that little horn. Babylon the Great whore, Mystery Babylon, right? Let's go back to Daniel. We stopped at verse 11. Let's read verse 12.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 12. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away. Yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time.
All right, so just to make sure we understand what verse 12 is talking about, yes, the beast had the dominion taken. That means that they failed. Okay, Babylon is no longer here. Persian and Medes is no longer here. Greece and Rome, they're not here. But what you can see is a remnant of them people. They're still here, right? So that's what it means when their dominion was taken, but they're still here for a season and a time. Verse 13.
I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him.
All right, so we know that this is talking about Yahawashi. We know that this is talking about Yahawashi and how his kingdom will be established on earth. Read on.
And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
Right, talking about nothing's going to be able to take away the dominion, the everlasting dominion of Yahawashi and the kingdom that is going to be set up for him. Read on.
Verse 15. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all of this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the thing. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth.
Read on.
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
So we all know that when we read the scriptures, we know who the saints are. The saints are the Israelites. Okay. So these Israelites are going to reign with Yahushua in his kingdom. And it says forever and ever. All right, read on.
Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and its nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with its feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows.
When we talk about the 10 horns and the little horn that came up and it took out the three horns, the 3 that fell, then we know exactly what that's talking about. Spain, Great Britain, and France. Read on.
I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them until the Ancient of Days.
All right, so let's stop right there. Well, read verse 22.
Okay. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom.
All right, so this same horn is America. It's going to have Israel in captivity until Yahushua returns. All right, which is the last reigning power. The last reigning power. Let me read it for y'all again. 21 and 22, it says, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Very, very important scripture right there. Which means these saints are going to be in captivity until Yahushua returns. So let's get a couple scriptures to make sure we understand who is this last ruling power. All right, Obadiah chapter 1, verse 21. Let's get that, brother. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 21.
Obadiah chapter 1, verse 21. And Savior shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's.
The mount of Esau. All right, read it from the top again, brother.
And Saviors shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh's.
We can plainly see that there's going to be a kingdom that is set up after Esau is judged. All right. Let's go to Stinger. Let's get 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. Second Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. We're almost finished, family.
2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. But Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
Esau is the end of the world, and then Jacob is going to be the ruling kingdom after Esau. These prophecies have to fit together. They have to fit together. Let's get one more. Lamentations chapter 4, and I want you to read 21 and 22 for me. Now, this is going to be the kicker. Lamentations chapter 4, 21 through 22. Then I'm gonna make a statement after that.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sin.
Right. So when we go into my favorite book, Ezekiel, and read chapter 36, it talks about how we're going to be cleansed. The clean water is going to be sprinkled on us. Okay. So through all these prophecies, it's saying that Esau is going to be the last remaining kingdom. So I got a statement. And I wrote this down. It says, so either we have another captivity if Esau is not the last ruling nation. And this other ruling power will have to have both the northern kingdom and southern kingdom in their possession. That's prophecy. If Esau is not the end of the world, if there's another ruling power that's going to be, that's not America, then that means we have a whole total different captivity we have to go into. The Israelites have to go into another captivity. And not only do we go into another captivity, but they have to take the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. So these prophecies that we just went over, everything that we just read in the Bible, everything that Daniel saw in his vision, everything that King Nebuchadnezzar saw in his vision, then we have to understand that it can only be, we have to start with Babylon because we all know it's Babylon. As a matter of fact, let me get that real quick. I believe that's the end of my slides. Yeah, that is the end of the slide. Let me show y'all something real quick, just so y'all know. Let me show y'all something. When we go to Daniel chapter 2, like I was saying, even the scholars agree, right? When we go to Daniel chapter 2, you're going to see right here what I want to show you earlier. All right, that's the king's dream. All right, the interpretation, Babylon, the first kingdom. Babylon is the first kingdom. All right? Medo-Persia and Greece follows. Rome follows. That's the fourth kingdom. So if you have a different interpretation, if you have a different doctrine than what was presented to you tonight, then you have to at least start from Babylon. You have to start from Babylon because that's where the dream started. So you can't go beyond that. It has to start at Babylon. And after Babylon, we know who took over. It was the Persians and Medes. And then it was Greece. And then it was Rome. So if you have any other doctrine or interpretation or understanding, then you at least have to start with Babylon. And you have to end with Rome. So if you're not saying Esau is America, then you're saying that we have a whole total different captivity that we have to go into. that's about all I can say, brother. That's all I can say. Let's go ahead and finish out Daniel. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. All praises to the Most High. We're gonna finish out Daniel. All right, and we are back. All praises to the Most High. All right, so let's go ahead and finish out Daniel. We're gonna start at verse. Let's start at verse 23, brother.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 23. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns
Mhm.
out of his kingdom are 10 kings that shall rise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept this matter in my heart.
All right. All praises to the Most High. I hope that y'all were edified. I hope that y'all got some understanding. Before we end this, does anybody have any questions? Are you able to get comments, brother?
Con. Yeah, it's just interesting how the first kind of 3 I guess kingdoms and dominions kind of are kind of like spot on and they're accurate. Exactly, not necessarily not saying that they're accurate, but they 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 were people that you could identify that was the people, and there was no kind of deviation. But when it came to the 4th one, it made it wrong. But most people today gonna think regular wrong. So their mind, because they don't have to understand it, thinking, well, it can't be the United States. They're probably thinking it's going to be actual wrong. And so that's just the mystery and the power of the Most High, how he can put it out there and in such a way that is there in plain sight, but if you don't know, you won't know. So they all thinking they got, because a lot of people, when they teach this in Christianity, they are not thinking that the United States is Babylon or this Rome, this last kingdom. No, because see, America is a godly nation, one nation under God. So they ain't even thinking that way. But it's just easy to see for us who are in the truth how, hey, the wool is just gonna be pulled, the rug gonna be pulled from under them. And like it said, now I don't know if this is literal. It says in one day. So I don't think it may not be exactly one day, but he's basically saying it's gonna happen quick. When it happens, it's gonna come. So it's man, this is good stuff, man. Very good job, brother.
No praises. No praises. And just land back into that. That's why I started with the French and Indian War, because it actually talks about Great Britain. You know, I don't know if y'all understand or have an understanding of how we are still under Great Britain right now. That's a different topic, different lesson. But yeah, we still report to them. So just to show you how we actually stemmed off of Great Britain and how the Great Britain won that war, and then subsequently the war that came after that, that's when America got its independence. But I digress. Most definitely though. Right. Was there any comments in on the live or are we good on the comments?
No, we only had about 3 viewers, and I probably was one of them. So I don't know if he was watching too, but hey, it's all good. It was live, and so we just give it some time, brother.
Yeah. I just want to.
Yeah. No, I didn't see any comment. I made a comment, just said shalom, but nobody's responded. But no, I didn't have any comment.
No praises, no praises. Anybody here have any questions, any comments they'd like to make? Are we off now, brother?
No, but I can stop it.
Oh, no, let it play. Anybody in here have any questions or comments?
Oh, that was a beautiful lesson.
Okay.
I like the whole ending part of it, that Esau is going to be the end and Jacob is going to be the beginning. That
Good. All right, anybody else?
I just want to make a comment.
Come on, sir.
In us reading this and learning this, one thing that stands out about these nations, they were proud. They was a proud nation. They had a lot of pride. Their rulers had a lot of pride. The one thing that the Most High hates is pride.
Come.
And that's one of the things about their destruction. What it brought about their destruction and future destructions for them. Pride. You know, and it's this lesson that you gave tonight is beautiful because thinking back when I was in school, you know, this is the history that they taught. Alexander the Great, the Greek, you know, and this pride. And the pictures that you showed, him on his horse with the leopard skin, pride. Pride brought about destruction for him and still bringing about destruction for them. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
So praises. All right, well, I'm gonna say, I hope, you know, to viewers that may watch, I hope that you be edified. You can put our email in the chat. If you have any questions, you'd like to call in to our ministry, get some more information, to learn about our Sabbath classes, to learn about our Bible studies, to learn about our Bible readings, because we do Bible readings also throughout the week. So if y'all want to learn anything about that, please go to our website. Make sure you um, call in. We're gonna put our number in there. If you have any questions, please email us, let us know. And with that, I say shalom, you know, and y'all have a good evening. All praise.